Hello, and thank you so much for even considering me to be your Ombre Brow trainer. My name is Shawana, and I've been a makeup artist for about 13, almost 14 years, and a permanent makeup artist for 5. So just to tell you a little bit about me, I'm from San Diego, California. I've lived here in Arizona for almost 4 years now, and I have been able to build a business from the ground up in a new state where I knew no one, which was not easy, but I've been able to turn this into a 6-figure business. I'm really excited to teach you the same thing. I'm a single mom. I have a kid that's almost 14 years old. He'll be 14 in December. Yeah, I've been able to do all of these things through permanent makeup. So when I started, I only did microblading. I took a class. It was a 3-day hands-on class, and I don't feel like I learned all the things that I needed to learn in those days. My trainer wasn't as hands-on as I thought that she would be. I kind of left feeling like I had to teach myself the skill. Like, I learned the basics about it, but I didn't know everything that I needed to know to be able to be comfortable doing microblading just from that. Kind of started working on it myself, practiced on a lot of friends and family. I was able to, hone in on my skill. I worked at MAC for 6 years, so that's what made me comfortable with makeup and drawing on brows. I kind of had my style of brows that I already did going in, so that made it a little more comfortable for me. But actually learning and feeling comfortable with the technique, it took a long time. So I always tell my students, you can't start out comparing yourself to what I'm doing now, because it took me over 4 years to get to this comfort level doing these brows, and that's with having some type of experience in makeup. I started out with microblading, like I said. I did that for about 2 years before I took my first micro shading class, where I learned how to do the machine work. And once I took that, I absolutely loved the machine work. I have now kind of married the two together, which some people do, and my signature brow has become the ombre brow. So I don't do a whole lot of microblading on its own anymore. I don't really do micro shading on its own, because I kind of feel like you need one and the other to complete that like perfect gradient brow. Okay, so just to kind of give you a better idea of what we'll be covering in the class, I'm going to go over the official syllabus for the class. So it'll be, as you know, 2 days. It's a 15-hour class total. So on day 1, it's from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. You'll come in, you'll sign the consent form, and you'll understand what that means. We're going to go over consent, release of liabilities, how to protect yourself legally, and I go through all of these things with my lawyer to make sure that we are protected. That's crucial for any business. We will then cover the manual, skin anatomy, mapping, measuring, and brow design, strokes and patterns, the technique, proper depth placement, because that's very important for very important for permanent makeup. Knowing how deep to go and what will actually take so that your client's brows don't fall off essentially once they're healed. We'll go through the numbing process, any risk factors or contraindications, machine setup, needle configuration, sanitation and sterilization, aftercare, client consultation process, and the client paperwork that's necessary. Of course, consent forms, touch-up, and maintenance. Kind of how that whole process works. We will also be on day 1 having a business success class, which in that I'm going to teach you how to start your business, how to set up your business, what's important to have, your business structures, social media, branding, coloring, what apps I use, requirements, what is required as a permanent makeup artist for you to operate successfully and know that you're secure and you're covered. And we'll also be going over marketing. So that's a lot in day 1, but I'm confident that you'll be able to catch it all, and it'll be a small, intimate class. Like I said, 5 people, 10 at the most, and you'll all get my undivided attention, and I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what to do. Day 2, we'll go over our branding review, which is, coming from our business success class of day 1. We'll go over photography, apps, how I take pictures, the angles, the lighting, how I edit them, how I clean up the skin, never to compromise the brows, but just to kind of give the picture a better look as a whole. We go over all the protocols for setting up the machine, setting the expectations, and then we'll do model paperwork and we'll prep. So after we do all of that, I'll start on my model. That way you can see hands-on my entire technique from start to finish, what I do, how I numb, what the client is going to feel before you go into your client. After that, we'll have lunch. Don't know exactly what we'll have, but I'm located across the street from the Chandler Mall, so we'll get some good stuff. Then I'll have you start on your model. So once you start on your models, I'll oversee you do the whole service, the whole process. You can ask me questions that I can answer to give you a little bit more clarity and comfortability while you're taking your model in front of me. At the end, we'll do a question and answer, and then we'll have our certifications that we'll pass out, do a little fun little graduation type of thing for me to give you your actual certifications. In the class, I'll offer a kit as well. And in the kit, I'm going to be giving, again, things that I've never gotten in a kit. So I've paid probably $12,000, $13,000 at this point for trainings, and I've never gotten a full kit with all of my inks and everything that I'm going to need to be able to do these services. So you'll get your waterproof sketching pencil, which you need, the razor to sharpen it. Of course, I'll show you how to sharpen and what exactly I do. I'll be teaching you exactly what I do every day with every client. Calipers, measuring string, disposable rulers, barrier film, pigment rings, numbing creams, needles, inks, fake skin, a little selfie light, ring light that goes on your phone, and of course your certificate. So all of these things will be given to you. This already has over $1,000 value just in the kit that I'm going to be providing for you guys. You get your permanent makeup machine as well, if I didn't say that already. And these are all things that are imperative because I think it's really important for my students to leave my training and feel comfortable taking people the next day. Otherwise, there's no point. Again, I'm a single mom, and if I put money into something, I need to start making my money back instantly. So we'll go over all of those marketing techniques as well so that you can start to get your clients through the door, you know, as soon as possible, if not even before you take the training. Some of my students will talk about it a little bit before so that they can start making their flyers and inquiring for models to come in to get these services done. So as soon as they're trained, they have everything that they need to be able to take their clients the next day. I also allow my students to rent out my studio so that you don't have to find a place to work once you've graduated. And it won't be me in here. It'll just be you and your client, and you'll get the feel for, you know, what it's like to be able to take client in a studio and have that intimate one-on-one interaction with your client while you're doing their brows. So I'm really fortunate to be able to offer that to my students in the beginning while they're building their businesses. So the class as a whole is $3,000 for the 2-day class. It's a $500 deposit. I start to buy the things for your kit that are, you know, imperative that I get right away because they're being shipped from different places, and the balance of your class is due in cash the first day of the class. Just to go over a little Q&A, some questions that I'm asked constantly. Do you need a license? You don't need an esthetician license or any license to do permanent makeup in the state of Arizona. It varies state by state, but at least here you don't, and in California you don't. It's not something that falls under State Board of Barbering and Cosmetology, so they don't regulate it. So this is something that you can definitely start as soon as you get the certification. And again, I've taken classes. I now have 15 permanent makeup certifications. So I make sure that I get educated so that I can educate both my clients and my students so that you're comfortable taking on your clients and doing these services as soon as you leave my studio. Other than that, you can ask me if you have any other questions and we can chat a little bit, and I hope to see you in my next class. If you have any questions, you can text me at area code 480-526-4451 or 480-744-7499. That's me. The first number is my assistant, so one of us will get back to you in a timely manner. You could even put us in a group chat if need be so that you can make sure both of us get the text messages. Other than that, yeah, I hope to see you at my next training. Have a great day.